All right. Looks like it's good here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, I guess I forgot to turn on my webcam. Welcome, everyone, to another Tanares update here. Of course, here in the future, we'll be talking more about the RPG, but, as you guys have seen in previous updates, a lot of it's more focused towards the board game and production of the board game related items right now. In general, that's really what we're focused on. All right, so let's just get started. I have my notes here on the side, which is probably why you'll keep seeing me look over here. Hopefully, you like this art, by the way. I saw this one, I think either today or yesterday pop up, and I was like, man, that's a pretty awesome art. Hope you guys enjoy that as well. Anyway, let's jump into our topics here. Of course, if you haven't checked out the channel before, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps me as well. Anyway, so production news. I do actually have a picture for that. Oh, it's actually right here. Okay, so a couple things that we should probably talk about. So, just making sure it's clear. So I kind of modified this myself. This is the production timeline estimate that we created for update number 27 of the RPG, and I think it's like 86 or something, or 87 in Tanares Adventures campaign. Anyway, so this is that timeline. So I'm using this to kind of clue people in. If you're Tanares Adventures only, then probably stuff near the end here about the RPG isn't related to you. But anyway, so I made some modifications. So let's first talk about the beginning. A lot of those items were already submitted to the manufacturer, like we said before. July 4th. Ended up being the actual Tanares RPG Pledge Manager close date, which if you haven't completed it by now, it's probably pretty much too late. But if you do have any questions, or for some reason you weren't able to get it closed in time, make sure to send an email to contact@dragorigames.com. And the customer service there will be able to help you with whatever it is, including, we get a lot of questions related to change of address. So if you have a change of address, that's a good place to do that as well. Okay, so next thing. So previously this was saying near the end of July. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of a delay here in finishing these final documents, the rulebook, quest guide, and journal. So in this process here that we've been laying out, you'll notice that like a lot of these are submissions to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer will take those and then they'll review them and maybe provide modifications or other changes. And then, Dragori looks at it, they review it, and then basically once everyone's all in agreement, then we're actually pressing the button and making those specific items. So in terms of like even this June 20th, we submitted all that, but they only, I believe, started producing it, some of the items in like the last couple weeks. So always keep that in mind, that this is like when it's submitted, and then, the workaround, and then actual production. So they didn't actually really get started, I think, till early July-ish time, or mid-July. But so there's been a slight delay in terms of that, unfortunately. But pretty much everything else is still running. The manufacturer is definitely still. They're not slowed down. They have plenty of stuff to still work on, and they also have some other games going at the same time. So it's definitely not like they're just sitting waiting around for Dragori to finish those last files. Next thing up is September 9th is the estimated, and remember, all these are estimates as best as we can get. And of course, we don't really know until we've already kind of gotten there and passed. But September 9th is basically when mass production is pretty much supposed to be 100% done. Everything's assembled, boxed up, sealed on pallets, ready to go, and sent to the logistics partners. And so that's about September 9th is that point. And then mid-September is when we will ship those out to the international hubs. So that's kind of where we're actually really starting the shipment of the board game items. Pretty much everything else is pretty close as far as I know right now to what the timeline is. And we'll just kind of update that as we get further along. Okay, let's see what's next. In terms of some of the books, like the quest book, rule book, journal, a lot of it has to do with editing. There's a lot of editing that's done on these documents because they're super big. In fact, I was doing some editing on the rule book this week and reviewing that with the Dragori team. And basically, I'd say like most of the content. In fact, you guys will see a little bit snippet of the rule book here today. Basically, it's mostly there. There's some little edits here or there, but the biggest thing actually is that there's it's pretty much the graphics are still finishing and being placed in the document. So that's partially what's slowing down things. There's a lot of graphic work that's done. Okay, talked about the mid-September time, and then. All right, so we will have early September. We'll have, we'll have a early sample with the actual box art and some components, miniatures, except for the books to arrive in the next couple weeks. So hopefully I'll be able to show you guys a little bit more of what that looks like. I do actually have a few photos I'll be able to show you today of what I've gotten so far. And I don't know if there's been a ton of photos yet because the white sample that they've received earlier, I did show some of that on the Discord group, so you can check that out as well. I will show one of the things specifically here pretty soon. And then we're planning for probably an unboxing or at least just kind of going over the final sample in early September. So hopefully we'll be able to, we should receive that at that point. I'm hoping that I can get that and show you guys pretty soon in that point. If not, it may be, a week or something after that. So we'll kind of see where we are there. All right, so let's go into some photos here. So right here you'll see that there has been a lot of mass production actually still going on for miniatures especially. So I'm not exactly sure what this one, it might be, I think maybe some of the penumbral box tentacle pieces here. This middle one here definitely looks like the auger as well as maybe the auger down here. So that is very much in work. In terms of painting, basically I was told that it doesn't actually take that much more work to do the painting. Basically it's part of the assembly process when they're doing that. So yeah, it's just a little bit more in there. This looks like some of the wings. I'm not exactly sure which creature this one goes to, and when I was talking to Gabriel about this, he wasn't sure as well. But anyway, there's some wings there from the mass production bins. This is not actually a mass production. This is just showing some of the work that was still being done on a few of the remaining miniatures. There's probably like, you'll see a couple more here. There's only a couple left that just had like some minor tweaks that they were working on. So this is the penumbral dragon, I believe, and they were kind of working some of the, looks like some of the molding and joint pieces in there and kind of getting that worked out. Looks pretty cool though. Can't wait to see what it looks like. All right, here's Herodrin, I think his name is. This is not a final miniature photo. This is basically the final resin review. So they got this one, and I think that out of like all the boxes, I think that's actually the last one that hasn't had all of the final approvals yet, because that review process is actually what takes really long. So for example, even with like that auger, I was told that there was like, I think 10 different samples that they got just in terms of like the painting. And even that they were able to finish already, but getting the reviews for the miniature was taking a little bit longer there. All right, this is Zalir here. These are, both of these characters are like NPC characters that are part of the Tanares Adventures campaign. And then, of course, you know, they can be used in the RPG as well. And both of these guys come in the Mystical Pack. That was also resin as well. This one, I actually like this one. Pretty awesome. These are the towers. And I believe that's part of the Mystical Pack. And then I think this one and one more of the Scenario Pack are the last couple ones here that are stuck. But anyway, this is the tower from the Scenario Pack. Looks really awesomely detailed. It looks pretty awesome. I really hope that the final version can still maintain that quality of detail, but you know, resin, of course, as we know, is always going to have a little bit better detail than the final like PVC and ABS mixture that they usually use for it. But still, I mean, that looks pretty awesome to see. And then this here is a portal that also is part of the Scenario Pack, and looks pretty cool. And you know, they definitely made it so that way you could put this portal down over the spot where a portal will fit on the map, and then you know, you can still put your miniatures, you know, right here on top of the base piece, so it'll be kind of like they're entering right through it. Anyway, that is the portal. All right, and I think I have only one more, and this one a lot of people in Discord had already seen before, but if you hadn't, you can see it now. These are the mana cubes for Tanares Adventures. So all the different colors are used in depending on which class you are. So the yellow is the bruisers, green is healers, red is brutes, purple is controllers, blue is the shooters, orange is the tacticians, the brown is the commanders, and these kind of like white-ish, sort of grayish are the tanks. The black here are for the villains, or their fatigue cubes. But all the other ones will be used as mana cubes for your skill trees as part of Tanares Adventures. I think they look pretty cool. My personal favorite is orange. If you guys have a personal favorite, let us know, because when I put it up, somebody put up some colors, and I thought it was a really cool idea for people just like fill in which one their favorite was. Okay, we're going to move on to the next subject here, which is, let me make sure I get it up here correctly, and I'm going to turn off my webcam for this. Okay. Next thing is I wanted to talk about Kemet Hunts. So, as people may or may not know from Arena the Contest, there is a difficulty system in Arena the Contest where there's basically like the easy mode, the normal mode, and then I think a hard and maybe like a nightmare mode. Personally, I didn't ever actually have that much interest in playing any of the other modes because I didn't feel like they were really that interesting, and they didn't really provide much use. Probably about 5 months ago, somebody in the Facebook group actually put up a poll about difficulty levels, and basically it seemed like a resounding like nobody else had really tried anything else besides maybe the nightmare one like 1 or 2 times or something, but most people just played the regular one. Well, anyway, the reason I bring it up is because the Kemet Hunt is basically your equivalent of different difficulty modes within Tanares Adventures. There also, I will point out that there also is a challenge mode, which is separate from the Kemet Hunts. But this is kind of like that, a little bit better scaling part. Pretty much with the extra challenges, you just choose to either do it or not, and then you'll get, I think, like extra things or better outcomes or something if you complete the extra challenge. But anyway, Kemet Hunt, basically what it is as you are this small team going around completing missions, you are becoming more and more renowned within the enemy army, which is the Kemet, and they have decided that they need to basically set out to come after you, basically. So, like it says here, you don't need to remember this, but pretty much is at the end of each quest, whether you win or lose, you'll gain an X amount of additional loot cards. For people who don't know, loot cards are used in the city phase to purchase additional items and things like that. So that's how you'll use the loot cards. You begin the campaign at level 0, and then you can go up to a maximum level of level 5. So how it ranges. At level 1, you spend your special attacks before the quest begins, which is actually a pretty tough one right there. Levels 2 through 4 will add additional villains, and I was going to show you an example of what that looks like here in a second. But basically, you'll have on the map different stars to indicate where these villains are placed. And then level 5 is chests no longer appear on the board, and the chests obviously provide, well, not obvious to everybody, but sorry, I've played this game a lot, so at least the original game a lot, so I'm more used to that. But you get a lot of health from chests, so that's what makes that a lot more difficult. Okay, the effects are cumulative, so like you'll see here, if you're like at level 3, you apply the 1, 2, and 3, and then go from there. So the important part is like how do you gain it? How do you lose it? So your Kemet Hunt level may change only after a quest ends. You may increase, and you don't have to, increase your Kemet Hunt by level 1 if you won the primary objective and accomplished the extra challenge and didn't spend the first aid token and you didn't open any of the chests. You must reduce your Kemet level by 1 if you lost the quest or you spent a first aid token. First aid tokens is basically if one of your heroes goes to 0 health points, you have to spend a first aid to bring them back to life. Otherwise, if you don't have anything, you would lose, like previously mentioned in the Meeting Tanares Adventures video series. Okay, you may always reduce your Kemet level as much as you want. So if you are playing and you feel like it's just too much, or maybe you're playing on your own and then you come to play with some other friends and it's just like not fun for people, of course, you can always reduce it down. But if you do that, of course, you will not get those resource bonuses for the Kemet Hunt level. So you won't get those loot resources. Okay, so anyway, that is Kemet Hunts. And I don't know, you guys tell me what you think about the Kemet Hunt. One other thing I'll note about the Kemet Hunts is... by the way, if you see some funny stuff like this, these are just some of the notes for adding like additional graphics. But otherwise, like I said, most of the wording is actually in there. So another note about the Kemet Hunts. Originally, they didn't exist, but one of the concerns Jagori had when developing the game was this difficulty aspect. So that's why there was a requirement to use, one of each of the different roles. So if you see the Meeting Tanares Adventure series, you'll probably know what I mean when I talk about these different roles, like the striker and the guardian and anyway, those different roles. And so they decided that basically once they completed this like Kemet Hunt idea to make the difficulty a little more challenging, they figured that this was like a good point where you could swap up your teams if you wanted. Now, of course, the rulebook still suggests you to use that 4 different role setup, especially if you're playing for the first time. But if you want to, you can mix and match teams. Of course, you still need to play the game with, for example, you can only have 1 brute. So you can't bring 2 brute characters because then you'd break the rules. But now you could do, like, for example, a tank and a bruiser, which normally take the same guardian role, and you could have them on one team, and you balance it by having this Kemet Hunt. So that's originally the idea, why they, or part of the idea why they figured that they could allow people to split up the teams more, is because of this new system that they developed. Okay, let me see here. I think I had one other thing. Oh yeah, here it is, Kemet Hunt. So this is one of the quest maps. So what I thought I'd point out real quick here. So the numbers will be ones that are indicated in the quest book. These shields, never mind, I'm not going to talk about the shields, but these stars here is the Kemet level. So if you're at Kemet level 2, you'll place this villain. If you're at 3, you'll place this one. If you're at 4, you'll place this one, right? So it's 2 through 4. And then if you were at 5, you wouldn't place the chess, basically. Anyway, so that's what a Kemet Hunt is and what it looks like on the quest map. So at least you guys have an idea of what is coming there. Anyway, I think, let me double check here. Yeah, I think that's it. It's just going to be a short little update. If you guys have any questions here in the last couple minutes, I might be able to answer some of what I can. I don't know if I can answer everything, but let me know if you have some questions. And then if that's it, we'll wrap up and you guys can go play some games. Maybe some of you Wave 1 people might be able to go play some Arena. I know I will be back working on, I've been working on video content here. It's been slow going. I haven't been making as much progress as I've wanted, but we should be having a couple come out here pretty soon in terms of lore video stuff coming and hero spotlights, especially for the new heroes. And what's the other one that I was working on? It's slipping my mind right now, but lot more cool things to come. All right. No, I don't see any other questions in the chat. So, if that's it, guys, then you all have a great weekend, and I'll see you at the next one. Thanks.